Here's the truth and the mind being laid off. There's an aspect of it that's quite nice. I'm being so honest and real right now. Being able to have more time for yourself and to clean your house and to do your laundry and to run errands when you used to never really have the time to do that Monday through Friday. And also taking back control of your life and not having somebody else in charge of it is kind of empowering. Now, with this being said, the other side of it is extremely stressful. The financial strain it causes on you and your family is completely and entirely stressful. And even when people are like, but you get unemployment, for reference, what I get in 2 weeks of unemployment is about the same amount of money I was almost making a day. So obviously it's not the same. However, I'm still thankful for anything. Like, it does help for groceries or gas or what have you. But beyond the complete and total financial strain and then stress of like this job market being really hard to find a job, there's this slight like joy. And I really feel weird saying that. And I'm sure there's going to be people like comment like, there is absolutely no joy, destroyed my life. Like, yes, I know, because I'm in the same position. I know, trust me. But we can't lie and say that there are part of my day where I'm like, wow, I have control of my life again. For the first time in 5.5 years, I have control of my life again. I say that as I'm also applying for jobs, giving the control back to somebody else. I'm excited to have an income and I'm excited to get back in the workforce, but I can't lie and say that it hasn't been somewhat nice to be like my own boss again. At the end of the day, what matters most is like making some sort of money. I have to. So whatever I can do and whatever position I can put myself in to like make some sort of money and income again is priority. But I can't lie that I don't like waking up every day and having complete and total control of my day again. If you're interested in following more, I share everything about my unemployment, laid off.
I think that a lot of people had their identity wrapped up in what they did for a living, and that's okay for a guy most of the time. Why I say that's okay for a guy most of the time is because I believe that men are supposed to work. When women became so empowered, then they adjusted their lifestyle to what they started to make because they, really started to have careers and changes in their lives and stuff like that. You started to see a change and a pivot. And now that you see women being majority affected by who's being laid off, because I mostly see women complaining about being laid off, now they are in a panic. And no matter how much they say that, yeah, I got my life back or I'm empowered again, I think that the biggest issue is that their identity was wrapped up and what they did for a living. A job is nothing more than a way for you to be able to bring in income so that you can do what you want to do when you leave. Even when we talk about online and the content creation and all of this stuff, people get so caught up in trying to identify who you are and what you do for a living. When you go out, hey, what do you do? When you go on a date, hey, what do you do for a living and how much money do you make? Everybody is tying their identity in by how much money they make, which also is associated with whatever their career path is. Ultimately, I think that people need to detach, honestly. And it doesn't mean don't make more money. It don't mean that you shouldn't hustle. It don't mean that you shouldn't hire or really, really get to it and all of this stuff. But what I am saying is that everything you do should not be based off of how much you make or what you do for a living. Money is nothing more than a tool. And the more you make, that does not mean you even have to increase your lifestyle. I think that you have to start being careful with how you invest it so you don't feel under duress when you get to a point to where, if you was to ever get laid off or anything like that. That's why I said, and I do it on my review videos and everything like that, that I spend maybe 5 to 7, 8% of my income on myself, having fun, lifestyle, and then the other 92, 93% is all going and invested, which means that I'm also not living this crazy, extravagant lifestyle to where, I would be affected if, my income was then to be removed or if it was ever a problem or something like that. I am very comfortable no matter what the situation is. As a matter of fact, a lot of what I do from a financial perspective is planning my exit strategy. If anything was to ever happen or if you was to ever go a different way or something like that, what would that look like? And I think that so many people, that's why it's almost like a life event. If they get laid off or if they get fired and if they lose their job, they have to pivot their entire existence based off of that. If I was to ever find myself in a different place financially after all of this time of being able to plan effectively, honestly, my life would be exactly the same, minus the fact that I had to get up a little bit earlier to plan for the shows and the live streams that I do. But people's identity is totally tied up in what it is that they do for a living.
Crazy work stories on TikTok, so feel free to follow, and maybe I can help you feel more seen.
So I got laid off back in the beginning of May. So I've been on unemployment for like 6-ish months, and the benefits are almost running out. I'm a few weeks away from not having any stable income at all. And I've seen a few people on this app talk about how, you know, the feelings of like worthlessness and like feeling like a waste of space, and how like society has made us feel like that if we don't have a job, even though losing my job was technically not my fault. We're still made to feel like it is our fault and like completely just like our problem that we are laid off, and then no one wants to hire us for things we are like overly qualified for. And we also interview for jobs and get ghosted. The one job I actually got 2 interviews in for, and they said they wouldn't ghost me. Guess what? They ghosted me. And like I said, my weekly unemployment benefits are going to end in a few weeks. So I just don't know what we're supposed to do. Like I just really want to like be in the woods and like, I don't know, pick flowers and lay in the sun. Like this is just like, it's not supposed to be this way, you know? Not supposed
It really isn't. To be honest with you, she's 100% right. Women are supposed to be, in my opinion, chilling, relaxing, raising children, going on picnics, shopping, having a good time, and being basically nomads. You know what I'm saying? I don't think that people are supposed to be worrying about money the way that they are. We become so off with our minds. We become so weird with the way that we move that we think that everything is about that. And so people forgot who they are. They went and chased something, women did. They went and chased something, and then they advocated for something that they now have to pay for, because this is the other side of it. It's always a yang to the yin.
to feel like a waste of space because my job laid me off and I can't get another one because no one is fucking hiring. And everything I'm doing during the day, like streaming on Twitch, working on my novel, like that's all long game stuff. That's all stuff that I wouldn't even expect to make an income from that right now anyway. Like, especially not the novel. That shit's gonna come years down the line. But even Twitch, like I'm making money from that. I made, I don't know, $200 in 6 months. Yeah, that's gonna pay the bills. According to the government, that's considered a hobby. I guess it makes me feel better knowing that there's so many other people on here that are going through the same thing, but man, like, what do you do? What do you do when the money stops coming in? What do you do? Like, well, I don't know what to do. I think all I can do is just what I've been doing. I guess I'll keep working on my passions and try to ignore the fact that
What the fuck was that?
Society wants to make me feel guilty for working on my passions instead of...
Yeah, that means that you just need a really good man that allows for you to be able to do that. Let me know what y'all think inside of the comments. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description. Teach Henley, 40% off your first order, 20% off for life. Everybody wants to live like a fairy. Nobody wants to do what a fairy is supposed to do in order to live like a fairy. That's my thoughts on it. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. I'm going to holler at y'all later. Peace.